Adam Biggleson here with the lovely Anna Maria Oliva. Yay. We were having a conversation ourselves before that we felt would be a good conversation to record and talk about and share. So the idea of what is science? What is a scientist? As people are listening to, I listen to this, I follow the science. Dun, dun, dun. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? And it was interesting. One of the things that brought this up, something that Josh and I experienced. When Josh and I went to Spain initially and we did our lecture, our big lecture, and it was awesome. Lots of people showed up. We were thrilled. At one point, we get invited to be in this round table on stage with doctors and lawyers and scientists. And we have the earpiece in for the translator to let us know what's happening. And someone says, we need to be scientists like the Bigglesons. And I had to say, did he just call us scientists? And our translator said, yeah, and gave me the thumbs up. So, and it what was very cool is this is a person that Anna respects very much. So this Maximo Sandine, who you should know about. We'll teach you about him some point soon. Said we need to be scientists like the Bigglesons. They have a method that is repeatable, replicable. They have observed patterns over a period of time. So do we need to be scientists? Do we need to go to school? For us to have done, my dad to have done the blood with what he did, but didn't do scientific method. He was clinically successful, as like a Dr. Andrew Kaufman would say. Dad did this for 25 years in the clinic with success. Mm-hmm. So what is science? What is a scientist? Can't we all be? I had this conversation today. Can't we are all our own scientists?
Yeah, I think so, because science means that you are following the method. Okay, when we talk about the scientific method.
Okay.
So that means that is how.
So that's your hypothesis. And
it's your observations, right, okay. and now we're going to go to that. But what I mean is that science is not about what you study, but how. So at the end, everything can be studied. So everything is susceptible of being seen. So at the end, what is what you want? What you want is to get a knowledge from data. So what you have is that you have your images. And these images, you obtain that with certain methods. That is your microscope, and you always do the same protocol because you always do exactly the same. With the same protocol, you get data. And from that data, you had some questions that you wanted to answer. And eventually, after observing many, many of them, you start realizing that that makes sense. That this interpretation that your dad is doing makes sense because I've tried that once and twice and three times and four and five, and it's always the same. It's consistent. There is no contradiction.
Sure.
When it happens this way, that means this, and you've checked that 60,000 images over time. So you've tested that enough, and you've seen that there is no contradiction in the information you are getting there. So then is how you move from just data to the knowledge, and that's what science does.
So it's interesting, too, because there was a device you used where someone can look at the readouts, the reports, and see what they see. But then you, having used this device and done over 10,000 scans, you start to really see patterns a little differently. I remember learning in school about science and statistics. Yeah. And the idea of assigning numerical value to things and coming up with a number. And if it was a 40%, then it was scientifically significant. I had a laboratory that told us once if we took the blood and out of 5 people, let's say we see a dental issue in 5 people, and we can confirm that with things like thermography and x-rays and other devices. If we can confirm that out 2 out of 5 people, that's scientific significance. That's 40%. In school, that's like an F. Which is interesting. So as far as questioning science, there's a lot of research out there that's scientific research that's published.
Yeah.
But if we don't understand how to read some of that, it doesn't make sense.
No, and the big problem now in science is that it has a goal. It's not just observing from a neutral point and trying to understand things.
Look at them every once in a while.
Yeah, okay. It's not that you just get the data and you observe that and analyze that. Of course, you want to confirm if this is true or is not true, that I'm seeing that kidney in the blood or that I'm seeing this pattern in the blood. But if you have the goal of I have to find this because that way I can
validate or confirm something you're looking for.
or get my money because I'm invested there. So I just buy science so as they demonstrate that what I'm saying is true.
Okay.
And that's the biggest problem now, that the conclusions that we are observing in many publications are totally contradictory.
That's interesting. This is where you have people like Dr. Andrew Kaufman, where he has the information and knowledge and the expertise to read a study that says cure and see that there's no connection with the word cure in the title and proven cure in the study. Mm-hmm. So even if it's been published, I can pay to have anything published.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything.
Totally.
So, and I really think then too, if we go back to people being their own scientist, someone shares something with you, this method, this product, this has worked for me. Well, you're different. Everyone is unique. Mm-hmm. So for you, people listening, to be your own scientist and learn things, then try these things and observe the patterns over time. Now, a lot of people are looking for this quick fix experience, which is interesting. Yeah. People would come to us with the blood, and Dad would say, "Fix me, Doc." And Dad would say, "I don't fix anybody. I look at the blood and we figure out what's going on and we support the body and it fixes itself." But Dad would say, "You've been a part of the problem. You need to be a part of the solution." Mm-hmm. So Dad didn't fix anyone. People fix themselves. Mm-hmm. So that's important. To be your own scientist, I think, is a really cool thing. Observing your own patterns.
I mean, this is
doing the work.
That is our nature. I mean, we have the ability to observe things, take in data and analyze those data and match them and continue working and looking for more sources or looking for more information until we find something that is consistent, that is coherent, that has no contradiction.
Well, and this is real learning.
Totally. That's what we need to do. That's why science is for everybody.
Yes, science is for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we should do that. We should gather data with our own methods and with our own observations, but also with other people's observation, and then try to
process that information.
Exactly, and find a way to understand that in a way that has no contradiction. That's the point. Right. That's the point. That has no contradiction. So now what do you see outside? You are seeing a narrative that has any kind of contradictions, all kind of contradictions. So you cannot believe that. That is just data, but it's not knowledge.
Right.
And it's not wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom comes when you have understood, when you have a conclusion. And the conclusion means I've done this, I have repeated it, I have observed this pattern, and this works, and there is no contradiction, and that's it.
Okay.
And this is what we should do with everything.
Well, and it's interesting too because, as we've done this with the blood, Dad was a doctor. Dad could tell you without question with everything that was going on. And as Josh and I move forward, there's things we didn't learn, we didn't gain from him. To come across someone like you who sees what we do, and even with Maximo saying that on the stage, to say scientists like these guys, in the blood, I mean, we question ourselves as humans all the time. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, over time, what Josh and I will tell people with our lectures is, Dad was able to use the microscope as a tool to learn how the body truly works. And it's all about the terrain, not the germ. But the bottom line is that and that's funny, that just disappeared. He used the microscope to learn how the body truly works.
And it gives you the data that allows you to know what to do. Because at the end, all the information has to be useful for you to create an experience and to change something. So the data you gather from the microscope, once you have understood that and you have checked and you have developed a model that is consistent and coherent, it has to be useful to take action, to do something.
Right.
If you don't do anything with that, then
sure.
It's another question.
Yes, right. What do you do with the information? Yeah, we would talk about that a lot. We educate people as to what the true root cause of your issue is, then what do you do with it? Mm-hmm. Well, then you have to take some action on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, so it was an interesting conversation we were having. We felt the need to just record it and share it. With what we've done with the blood, yes, there are things we don't know and that we question, but the reality is, that's what I was going to say is, what we learned from Dad, we say a lot of things, Josh and I, with the blood that are things you've never heard or people have never heard, or things that are the exact opposite of what people have heard. But what we say is not what we think, it's what we know from repeated experience. It's those patterns. So yeah, I guess in the end, to encourage people to do their research, to find what works for them and realize it might not work for the person next to them. but part of it is the work involved. Mm-hmm. So do your research, read those books, do some processing, take some action, notice the reaction, observe those patterns, and then see what you can end up doing for yourself. We can all be our own scientists.
Yeah.
We do not have to be schooled or go through schooling to be scientists.
We just need to learn to think.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. We have faith. We can all think. All right. That's about the size of it. Enjoy that. Feel free to send us a comment, and we'll see you at some point soon in another video. Hasta luego.